Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel at Olotito. I am Isaiah Olotito. I am thrilled to have you here today. We will be diving into an intriguing part of the Bible that is often overlooked but yet holds a profound, incredible lessons and mystery. In today's episode, we'll be exploring the land of Abimelech, especially the region of Gerar. We uncover the fascinating interaction between Abraham and the Philistine king. So grab your Bible and get ready for an exciting journey through Genesis. We are not only going to learn historical context, but spiritual lessons that are still relevant today. Let's get started. But first, if you are new here, do not forget to hit the subscribe button and that notification bell so you never miss an update. And also, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumb up and share with friends. So Abraham sojourned to a land of the Philistines called Gerar, the land of Abimelech. Abimelech was the king of Gerar. Before arriving at Gerar, Abraham told his wife Sarah that as they are about to get into this land, if they should inquire of Sarah if they are both lovers, if they are both married, Sarah should say they are both brothers and sisters. Now, Abraham did this because he was scared that the people of that land might kill him and take his wife. They might not have the fear of God. So they journeyed and came into the land of Gerar, the land of Abimelech. He was the king of Gerar, I said earlier. So they arrived at Gerar. Sarah was questioned by the people. They were both questioned, and Sarah told them that they were brothers and sisters. Now Sarah was a beautiful woman to behold, and Abimelech, the king of Gerar, took Sarah as a wife, and Sarah was staying with the king of Gerar. Now, on a particular night, the king of Gerar had a revelation, had a vision. He was speaking and communicating with God in that dream, and God sent him a stern warning that he should return Sarah to Abraham, that Sarah belongs to someone else, that Sarah is another man's wife, that Sarah is Abraham's wife, and if the king of Gerar refuses to return Sarah to his husband, there will be consequences. Now, the king of Gerar, which is Abimelech, replied God, saying, will God now punish a righteous nation because of this act? That whatever he did it out of righteousness. Now, yet comes the mystery. God never wanted to punish the people that fear him, the people that have reference for him, because the people of the land of Gerar, from the reply of the king of Gerar, shows that they feared God. They had reference for God. And because they feared God, and the king of Gerar did whatever he did out of righteousness of his heart, out of the integrity of his heart, that was why God held back his hand and refuses to punish them and sent a warning to the king of Gerar. And also, so that the king of Gerar will know that the man that is before them, he is a prophet, and that they should treat him right. That was why God appeared and sent a stern warning to the king of Gerar. And this also reveals that the king of Gerar had been receiving spiritual revelation, because it was not new. It was communicating with God fluently. He had this communication going with God. This is not the first time of him receiving revelation from God. So the king of Gerar, Abimelech, was not new in receiving revelation. Now, the king of Gerar woke up, approached Abraham and asked him, why did you do this? Why did you have to lie? Why did you have to conspire? Do you want to punish me and my people? Abraham replied and said, I did whatever I did because I was scared that the people of this land might not have the fear of God, might not have reference for God. Now this shows another deep insight, another deep view, that the people of Gerar have the fear of God. It is not as Abraham thought it would be. Abraham thought that the people of that land didn't have the fear of God, that the people of that land does not fear God, that the people of that land are idol worshippers. In fact, it is common in the land of the Philistines that they don't fear God, that they don't have respect for the God of Abraham. But on this particular occasion, on this particular issue, on this particular city, the people of Gerar, they feared God. They had reference for God. It was not as Abraham thinks, or it was not as Abraham expected it to be. Now, For Abimelech to rectify what he has done, he returned Sarah back to Abraham, restored them as husband and wife. He did not only do that, the king of Gerar, Abimelech, shows that he was sorry for whatever actions that he has taken. And how did he prove that he was sorry? He gave Sarah back and also gave them gifts, gave them land to fix up for his action, and also to fix Sarah's honor. Now, most Christians, when they say they are sorry, their actions does not prove the same. We say we are sorry, our actions show something else. But on this particular case, the actions of Abimelech, the king of Gerar, shows that he was sorry for whatever action that he has taken, and he restores Sarah's honor by giving gifts to show that he was truly sorry for what he did, and that indeed he was a man of integrity. We Christians should take after this step of the king of Gerar. When we say we are sorry, our actions should say the same thing, not only our mouth, because sometimes our mouth says we are sorry, but our actions does not speak the same thing. Now, going further, while Sarah was staying in the house, in the abode of the king of Gerar, the women in that house, they were unable to conceive. They were unable to get pregnant. And this was not because that God caused them, that in as much Sarah is still staying in that house with them, they will not be able to conceive. They will not be able to get pregnant. And the king himself will not be able to give or to get his wife pregnant, to get his wife conceived. Now, what is the solution forward? The solution is that the king of Gerar should return Sarah back to his husband, should return Sarah back to his home, which he did. Now, how long did the curse lasted in the house of Gerar, the king of Gerar, which is Abimelech? How long did that curse last? Was it a day? Was it 2 days? The Bible did not specify from the book of Genesis 20. It did not say. But what was certain was that in as long Sarah was in that house, the women of that house will not be able to conceive. They will not be able to get pregnant. They will not be able to give birth to babies. And the king himself, which is Abimelech, he is the king of Gerar, he will not be able to make his wife pregnant. The sole reason for this is that God promised Abraham that he is going to give him a son. Now, if the king of Abimelech had had his way with Sarah, their blood would have been tainted, which means mixed with that of the Philistine. And that was not the plan of God for Abraham. God promised Abraham that I will give you a son from your own body, which means from he and Sarah, which is the promised child, as said in the Bible from the book of Genesis. Now, if the king of Gerar, Abimelech, had had his way with Sarah, then that promise would have not come into fulfillment. God promised Abraham a son, which is from his own body. Going further, the king of Gerar returned Sarah to Abraham. Now is the curse lifted? The curse is not yet lifted, not until Abraham prayed for the king of Gerar, which is Abimelech. If Abraham did not pray for him because he was a prophet of God, as indicated by God, if Abraham refused to pray for the king of Gerar, the curse of barrenness would still have sticked with that household. So despite returning Sarah to Abraham, if Abraham was not pleased and said a prayer for them or pray for that household, the curse of barrenness would have still stick to that household. Now, Abraham prayed for that house. Abraham did pray for this household because he was pleased with the king of Gerar. The king of Gerar did not only return Sarah, but also grant him wealth and other gifts for him to be able to start up his life in that new land. So, the prophet of God, which is Abraham, was pleased, and he did say a prayer for them, and the barrenness and the curse that was upon the household of the king of Gerar, Abimelech, was lifted. If Abraham was not pleased and he did not pray for that household, the curse would have still stick to that household. But since Abraham was pleased and Abimelech did as God has commanded, Abraham had no need of owing grudges anymore upon that household. Instead, Abraham prayed and blessed that household. So we also should not hold grudges whenever somebody's offended us. We should stick and pray when the person asks and seeks our forgiveness.